All right. Well, this is going to be another week. And this time we have some big news. Winserve, as well, the personnel been purchased by Google and non exclusive licenses. And then they're purchased by somebody else. Let's talk about it.
Who needs employees when you're Google? You have enough.
Before we actually get into all of that and the little news briefs, and we will get to that, and amongst other things, of course, you have to make sure that you like, subscribe, leave some comments, that kind of thing, and stick around because I got a doozy of a rant, and also Robert always has his tech tip of the week, but
And this one might save you some money.
oh, cool. I'm looking forward to a little of that. You know what? We'll get into a little bit of news brief stuff. I was going to say the wrong one. All right, let's talk about perplexity. We're not talk about it. It's a news brief, but it's brief. Perplexity, is that what do they call it? Comet, I believe. Let me just check this out. Yeah, Perplexity's Comet is here. I am admittedly getting this off of Tech Radar, by the way. I'm going to make sure that I don't steal I'm not stealing your stuff, Tech Radar. Perplexity's Comet is here. And after using it for 48 hours, I'm convinced AI web browsers are the future of the internet. Now I don't have the chance to use it. Obviously, it's using I guess it would be a beta version of it. And I would imagine it's probably going to be similar to something like you get with AI mode, but considering it's almost entirely AI driven, it'd probably be more like actually having Gemini search the web for you with AI mode on. Do you know anything more about it?
No, I mean I saw something briefly about it, but I didn't. I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it because I don't think it's ready for like the entire browser to be AI. I don't. I think that's gonna just be bad.
Yeah. Well, here's my take on it, real quick. I first of all, competition is good, so I hope it's
Sure.
successful. Do I think that it's going to destroy Google search? No, Google Gemini is going to destroy Google search. Let's be real. It's still Google's the king, and when they're not the king, they're still going to be the prince. So, I mean, Microsoft, okay, Microsoft tried to take it. They failed miserably. Well, nobody's been able to do it. So let's just leave it at that. It's not going to happen.
But look, everybody had their chance. Google just jumped on it harder in the beginning than everybody else did because they saw the value in it. Yeah. So everybody had their chance. Now they're playing catch up. So
well, more news on the Gemini Wear OS. The Gemini app on the Wear OS app store. It basically shows Gemini. You won't see Assistant anywhere. If you were to install it on a new watch right now, you'd probably get Gemini. But if you already have Assistant, the app's probably going to be Gemini even after the update. So it seems that it's actually a server side. It's apparently more widely rolling out, so it could be any day or still a couple of weeks or more. Nobody knows. That's Gemini. Rant, hint. Anyways, moving on a little bit further.
Well, but on that, because you asked me about my watch, it's not even available on Samsung until they release the One UI 8 for the Wear OS.
Oh, so you're not even going to get it until one. Oh, that's right, because you have to have Android 16. Yes. Right.
Yeah. So, and I have no updates on my watch. So,
although that doesn't make a heck of. Oh no, because the watch itself. Yeah, I forgot. Unlike Google, Samsung will actually make the watch in parity with the phone OS, so that it's more seamless. Is that correct?
Right. Yes. Okay. It's supposedly yes. We'll see.
Okay. Well, there you have it. What other kind of good news? Oh, yes. I think it's good news. A lot of people don't care. You're not going to care yet. It's like saying 8K just came out, and that was a few years back, several years actually, and still very few people have 8K TVs. However, the biggest difference is not a lot of people are ever going to have 8K TVs because they're really overkill for the human eyeball. However, HDMI 2.2 is the real game changer. Yes, 2.1 does a lot, but 2.2 has faster specs than a DisplayPort. And I did confirm that. And it's a bit shocking, but we're talking about something like 80 or 100 gigabytes faster. That's a lot. Like a lot faster. So I really believe that while almost every salesman is still trying to say DisplayPort is it. DisplayPort, you don't go with DisplayPort if you have the option. I said, yeah, but what about when everything is HDMI 2.2? I mean, it's not now, but what about when it is and the peripherals have it? And he said, you still prefer DisplayPort? And I said, well, can you explain why? Well, it's just better. No, they can't, because they don't know anything about HDMI 2.2. But here's the reason why I think HDMI 2.2 is the answer and the way to go. Much like USB-C, HDMI 2.2 is still HDMI, so it's still relatively universal. Also, USB-C will be capable of actually being updated to work with HDMI 2.2, much the same as you can have USB-C from your computer to your TV, going from USB-C to HDMI, because the signal works that way. But they can actually do it as if it were HDMI. You'll be able to do that with that. However, doing with DisplayPort is always more difficult. Yes, you can get adapters. Yes, I use one. But you're not going to put the DisplayPort on a regular TV. You're only going to use it on a monitor. And
Yeah, because TVs don't even have display ports. I've never seen
exactly. one. Well, they don't need it, right? At least they didn't. But now the HDMI 2.1, even most gamers aren't going to need full DisplayPort stuff. Some of them do, but they have like $40,000 worth of gaming equipment and probably using cheat stuff. Oh, speaking of, see, there's some news. I should have brought that up, and I apologize for not. Did you read about I forgot what it's called. Well, the Call of Duty. They've done another big, huge cheat sweep perma ban.
with Ricochet.
No, it's a different one now. It had something to do with aim, auto aim or aim bot something or whatever. I can't remember what it's called, but apparently they've been around for a long, long time, and they basically just banned however many people are on it. It could be tens of thousands or maybe even hundreds.
I did read something that a lot of the cheaters were upset with
Yes,
COD
that's
and
it.
Activision, but I'm
That's
like,
it.
you're what? That's like saying you're upset with the bank because I stole your money and you're going to throw me in jail, but I'm upset with you for throwing me. What? That
Yeah,
doesn't even
well,
make
how about all
sense.
those people? How dare these cops arrest me when I'm stealing cars and
Yeah, yeah.
rolling old ladies?
I mean, you're cheating.
Yeah. Get out! Oh Lord, uh,
Yeah.
move the wrong way on my chair again.
I don't know. We'll see how effective it is. It always seems like
Yeah,
there's, it's a cat and mouse game like everything else. I mean,
yeah,
they're gonna
yeah.
find a way around it, and then they'll have to find another way to stop it, and then they'll find a way around that, and it just goes back and forth. It's just the way it
And
is.
yeah, always. There's not as much interesting news going on as I actually originally thought there was going to be. I mean, there's more things, but I think better off to just kind of get into the meat of the program, and start talking more about that stuff, because I don't want to waste my time on the little piddly news stuff. And I apologize to anyone viewing this. It's been a rough week, and I should have been a little bit more prepared. But that said, we do have we're going to talk about the windsurf stuff. and Google, and what it means for Google, what it means for us as consumers, and not just for people using Google, because the way they did the acquisition, uh, well, we'll get into it. You know what? We'll get into it. It's actually good news for pretty much everybody. Uh, However, we do have a hot button topic. If you travel, and I know somebody right there that travels, but you don't have to take your shoes off when you go through the gates, do you? Screening, I mean.
I haven't had to do that for years, anyways.
Yeah, because you have the
TSA pre-check.
yeah, the pre-check thing. However, for those that don't, having to take the shoes off, a twofold reason. Obviously, 9/11 changed everything, but there was that. What was he called? What did they call him? The shoe bomber or something like that? Uh,
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah.
It's
So they basically everybody has to take their shoes off, but it's been a long time, and screening process has become way, way, way more so. They're more dealt. People don't just walk through the gates anymore. Um, and this is true in all of North America. So apparently, and because I didn't know, I haven't flown in a long time. It's been 15 or 16 years since I was last on a plane. And I don't remember having to take my shoes off. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I don't remember, but probably not because it was just a domestic flight in Canada. Anything going to the States would have been different, most likely. But that said, or what is that? I think is it true already, or are they still talking about it?
my understanding is that's now implemented. Is my understanding,
Yes.
but I
Right.
don't know.
Well, the interesting thing is that Canada's basically, and this is a lot of things that come to do with security, safety, stuff like that. Canada will often follow suit with the US to make things uniform across the board. It's the same thing where if the USDA says cereal is deadly to humans, Canada will likely, follow suit and tell you cornflakes is, no good, at the drop of a hat. That was a really bad example, but you get my point. More importantly, things like if there's an air accident and what do you call the company, the branch that or you know what I mean, that investigates air disasters and gives out the report.
Oh, I would have told you had you not asked me.
I know, right?
National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB.
NTSB, yes. Right. Anyways, Canada's version of it, if in the States say there's a crash and blah blah blah, and they have to change safety measures, recommendations go everywhere, and most countries will follow suit. But Canada pretty much goes along exactly. And the same thing happens if a crash happens in Canada. And even if it's just a Canadian jet domestic and they don't require any assistance from the NTSB, which they do sometimes ask for, and it sometimes is offered. If it's a major crash, especially if it involves an American plane, then the NTSB, well, jumps on a plane and heads to Canada to investigate or help with the investigation. They do a joint investigation and the reports come out and changes across the board. Anywho, so Canada's doing that too. So if you got to go to the airport and you're flying, you may not have to take your shoes off anymore.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of times it doesn't matter where the accident happens because obviously there's so many Boeing aircraft, which Boeing's a U.S. company.
Yeah.
Just like that Air India crash, I've been waiting to see, and they just recently came out with the fact that they after going through all the black box information and telemetry and all that, somebody, whether it's pilot, co-pilot, turned the fuel off. So
What did I say?
Yeah, it's
I
pilot
said it.
error.
I didn't say it was the pilots did it. I said the fuel was cut off. I guarantee it. That's what I said. The fuel was cut off. I didn't say the pilots did it, and it's damn disappointing that it was the pilots. But at the same time, it's actually good news for Boeing. And I mean that seriously, because if that had turned out to be an accident, something that they glitched, that would have screwed them bad. that would be just another problem for Boeing. But
Well, it's my
that's
understanding
also
by listening to
that's also one of the safest jet airliners ever.
well, it's my understanding by listening. I watched the an interview. Wasn't really an interview. The guy was talking about it.
Yeah.
He's like a 30-year veteran, airline pilot, and he's like, yeah, this can't happen by accident. He's like, the way these are designed, they don't just like accidentally flip off. It's not like a light switch on your wall. I mean, there's definitive action you have to take to do
Yes.
it. So why, obviously there's no way of knowing,
Was it
because
the oh God, I can't remember, Scandinavian pilot or the American older gentleman
that what are you talking about?
that you were talking about? You were talking about a YouTube.
Oh, I don't know. No, it
Uh,
wasn't YouTube. It was on TikTok. I was watching. He
oh,
had this
oh well,
TikTok
it probably is
video.
probably from a YouTube video originally.
It's
Um,
possible. Yeah, I don't know,
yeah.
but
Was he wearing a pilot's outfit and was he older?
yes,
Then I think I know who you're talking about. Yes, he's done several videos on it, and
yeah,
he was actually visibly upset when he found out it was pilot error. He's very disappointed about that.
yeah.
Obviously, I mean, who wouldn't be? What is wrong with this thing now? I must have accidentally touched
But
that.
yeah. So I mean, it's it is good for Boeing. I mean, it's terrible no matter
Yeah.
what, but because they've always come under such high scrutiny for certain things, and it's like everything that happens to an aircraft isn't necessarily the aircraft manufacturer's fault. It's like
Oh yeah,
there's so many
maintenance,
other things
issues.
yeah.
There's
So
wear and tear that goes beyond. There could be something that there's no way they could have known. There's been a couple of planes that have come down 20 some odd years after, and after months and months and even years of investigation, they finally release a report that finds out that a bolt snapped in half because there was a microscopic flaw that they could never have discovered in inspections on the inside of the bolt that just got bigger and bigger until it snapped. That actually happened to one plane where it broke the tail rudder, not rudder. Well, the ones that make it go up and down. A
Yeah.
bad day again. And that it got stuck because it couldn't move because it had cracked. But
Yeah. And of course that could have been a maintenance thing. The people doing the maintenance, maybe they're like, I'm tired, I want to go home. And the rear aileron is fine. I don't need to look at it. I mean, you just don't know. I mean, there's
well,
human error.
absolutely, it happens. What I'm saying though is, in that particular case, it was actually a bolt that
Yeah,
cracked.
I know which one you're talking
When
about.
they
I
discovered
remember.
it
I
had a
remember the
hairline
incident.
fracture that they could not have seen until it happened. Anyways, all right. Going on. I don't want to get
Yeah.
too into that.
So
Prime Minister Carney has indicated that tariffs will probably still be likely. Some tariffs still likely, even if a deal between the U.S. and Canada is reached. And honestly, I don't see it being any other way, anyways, because there's just too many things that have gone back and forth. So, but if it can be reduced to some extent and we can, at least get basic things, across the border to each other, that might be nice. But I have a feeling that steel and aluminum is not going to be one of them. I think we're still going to be seeing tariffs on that stuff. But one thing I have noticed over the last few days or week, Trump hasn't said as much about Canada. Is that good news or is he boiling?
there's no telling with him. I don't. I don't ever pretend to even come close to understanding what that man's thinking.
No, not at all. Well,
He's
I
probably
don't really
just
have much else to say about that particular.
yeah. He's probably just sitting up there trying to figure out if it's going to be 50% or 60% or what kind of stupid number he's going to come up with now.
Oh God. Yeah, no. I don't know. But let's move on. What are we still on here? Apple Do you want to take this one? 500.
Well, so yeah, I guess, and you had put this in our show notes, about them spending money to buy rare earth, um, magnets, minerals.
Which I
I should say minerals to make magnets, right? And
right.
rare earth magnets, because they want to start producing that in the U.S. and also be able to export that. But see, here's the funny thing is, and again, I'm not an economist. These numbers are way over my head. I mean, I barely
Yeah.
balance my checkbook. But
Who has a
if,
checkbook?
well, it's
Another day, another
theoretical,
day, another day.
theoretical. It's all digital. I don't have a checkbook.
Yeah.
Um, if we're exporting, and the company or country, I should say, that we're exporting to, I mean, the tariffs are going to affect that too. Like, that's not. I mean, I don't
Well,
know.
if the other
I just.
country has tariffs against the U.S., yes, but Trump, right? He would say, "Well, we'll take your tariffs away if you buy our rare earth minerals." But that's not going to happen. See, because this is the thing. Apple can do that, and they can use it to make that, a couple of teeny weeny little, in the end, 37-cent pieces or $37 pieces in their $1,400 phones, that are, everything else comes from somewhere else and is manufactured and put together somewhere else. But if they were like, okay, we can ship you a bunch of neodymium magnets, um, and our guys all make, $58,000 a year versus your guys who are making $7 a year. I'm exaggerating slightly. Um, who do you think they're going to buy from? Because the U.S. can't sell it on the world market price. It works if they do it just for their own companies here. They're never going to be able to put that stuff on the open market. It's not like the rest of the world is suddenly going to raise the prices when, no matter how much rare earth stuff they do there, 98% of it is still going to come from somewhere else in the world. And they're not all going to go, oh no, we're just going to raise the price. So, because I mean, the last time we had issues like this, we ended up with chip shortages. Everybody started buying and the prices went up. And then nobody bought when they were available. People stopped buying computers for so long that people started wondering if the computer companies were going to go out of business and it was going to be nothing but phones and watches.
Well,
Of
keep
course,
in mind though, and this is not just Apple. They're actually
oh
going
yeah, of
in
course.
partnership with, MP Materials, and MP Materials has an independent facility in Texas, and
Yeah.
of course, they're going to be building another facility or something, and developing this material here for use in what, I don't know.
Yeah, and
I
training a bunch
suppose.
of people to be able to do whatever it is they need to do too. So it's not bad news. It's good news.
Sure,
There's
and
going to be
and I'm
jobs
sure
created,
that they can.
probably good paying jobs.
I'm sure they could probably use some of this in like accessories. Maybe there's like cases or
Of course.
other items
Listen,
they can actually they're not
not
manufacture
just
solely in the United States with these
yeah.
magnets. I mean, I don't know, but
To be clear, it's not just magnets. There are other things that this
sure.
materials are used for. Um, so there's more than that. All I'm saying is, for the cost of what they need to do this stuff, uh, I don't see them. I mean, will they be able to export some of it? Yeah, absolutely. But a lot of that's probably going to be mostly Canada and maybe some of Europe. But I mean, I can't see them, sending it off to places where they get their own for a tenth the cost, you know?
Well, another aspect of this that, we totally missed is, I read it. I just had forgotten about it, so I didn't put it in the notes. But,
Okay.
they're building a recycling facility in Mountain Pass, California, where MP Materials is going to be able to have recycling, so they can take old phones and things like that and
Yeah.
extract some of these materials out of old devices, which that's good because I can only imagine how much shit is in landfills from old iPhones and
I'm just
Androids and
curious, has it not been done already in the US?
well, not I guess
It's it's I'm
to
pretty sure
how
it's been
they're
done in
doing it.
Canada for years.
It says the recycled rare earth feedstock, including materials from used electronics, post industrial scrap, and reprocess it for use in Apple products. It says they've been
Oh, well,
piloting
yeah,
this
yeah, no, there's
advanced recycling technology,
yeah, I read that too.
but you know, I don't know
Absolutely.
what that means.
But no,
But
but that's see, now that's all good
it's all
because
good. It's all
we
good.
want
Yeah.
more recycled stuff and less stuff going because I mean a lot of the stuff that goes on, if you threw out every cell phone, smartphone, pre-smartphones, dumb phones, all the phones that have been thrown out over the years, if you threw out all of them instead of recycling, instead of people trading them in, there would be so much harmful crap in the ground right now. Well, I mean, there already is, but you know what I mean? It would be way worse. It's the same thing with TVs. People often just chuck TVs, they'll throw it in the back of the pickup and take it to the dump. Most of these dumps now will not let you pass the first gate. You have to stop and take everything electronic out and put it in a different location. They will not let you dump it with the rest of the stuff, because they get fined huge if they get caught trying to do it. But they also have to pay somebody, probably only minimum wage, but they still have to pay somebody to sort through it if it's mixed with something else it's not supposed to be with. So they prefer to have the electronics separate, and then they can have an expert go out and take out the rare earth stuff out of it, the copper wire.
Well, yeah, and here they definitely charge a premium too to dump it because it is a different process. There's actually a recycling company here in Gallatin that I used to use with my previous employer. That they're a electronics recycling company,
Yeah.
but they actually employ handicapped slash like mentally impaired, maybe autistic, type people where they give them specific tasks like, hey,
Yeah.
disassemble this phone, so that they're actually doing like amazing work employing who might be normally unemployable by a regular company, even they probably are not.
No, that's a good idea. Yeah.
And so we used to send them all this and they would pick it up for free, which they were the only ones that would do that. But it's because obviously they're taking all this equipment, they're tearing it all down, they're developing a skill set for these individuals. In addition, they're paying them, so they're giving them a fair wage, they're paying them a normal wage, so that's awesome for them. And they're taking all this stuff off the street, but then they're able to then take all that recycled stuff that they've sorted out and sell it or scrap it, melt it, whatever, and get more money coming in. So
So,
it's
yeah,
a great
steel,
thing.
of course, is that more harmful stuff like mercury and stuff like that can actually be
But
processed.
they won't take TVs. They won't take TVs and stuff like that because they can't get rid of it.
Can't get rid of it.
It costs them money, and they don't want to bring an expense into where they can't get anything out of
Yeah,
it. So
that's kind of weird. They don't have a very good system for that over there. Then over here
well,
they do. They
this
demand.
particular company doesn't
No, I
take it
get it.
because they want to generate income from
No,
everything they
I
bring
get that.
in,
But what I'm
and they
saying
can't do that
here,
from a TV.
you can here is what I'm saying. Let me finish. Is because there are companies that pay for all the stuff that comes out of the TV. So stripping it bare of everything they can sell makes it worth it to get the stuff out that have to get rid of from the TV, because it then needs to be taken elsewhere where it can be properly either disposed of or recycled by another company entirely.
Yes, other
Just a
recycling companies do make money on it. I'm saying this specific company decides not to deal with that piece of
So
equipment.
a TV, if I were living there, I'd have to go someplace different to get rid of the TV.
Call a different recycling company; they'll come pick it up, but they charge you to come pick it up.
Yeah, around here you don't do that. You put the TV on the street, it's gone in 5 minutes.
Well, I'm sure my local trash company would do the same, but I don't
No,
know.
that's a trash company. Just whoever's driving down the
Yeah,
street.
Oh,
You
oh
put a
my
chair out
God.
there with bed bugs visibly crawling on it, and someone will
Okay,
take.
no. That's yeah, maybe in the hood, but that doesn't happen around here.
That's
I
not
don't.
in the hood. No, I live in a clean, nice neighborhood, but it still happens. You put
No.
something out there, it's gone. Well, what are we gonna do with this? I don't want to go to the dump. Just put it on the curb. It'll be gone in 5 minutes. Okay, I put it on the curb. All right, how much do you want to bet? It's oh shit, it's already gone.
Yeah, that would not happen around here.
Really? You
No,
live in a
not
funny
here.
neighborhood, do you?
No, it's not a funny day neighborhood. It's just a regular neighborhood. But
Yeah.
typically in our neighborhoods, we don't throw shit on the curb and expect somebody to come by and pick it up. That's called trash.
You live in like some la-di-da gated community.
It's not a gated community.
I'm just
There's nothing
posing.
la di da about it. It's just a regular middle class neighborhood,
Yeah.
but they don't allow shit on the curb.
Do you have a homeowners association?
No. The city will come and
So
find you if you just throw shit on the curb.
So you can put light up reindeer on your roof every year if you wanted to. Then,
If I wanted to, which I don't, because that's stupid. But
hey, don't diss Mr. Griswold.
uh-huh.
Anywho, okay. Where were we at with this? Oh, we got past that part of it. What do we? Oh, look at that! I can still see the time. We got plenty of time. All right, you know what? We do have to get into the meat of the subject. So I'll just briefly, or maybe we should leave this for later. What do you think? And it's just a brief.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Commodore
so I don't.
64. If anybody's
Oh, how is that the meat of this? I thought you.
No, it's not. What did I just say? I said maybe we should get to the meat of it, and then I said, "Oh wait, now let's just mention this real quick." The Commodore 64 is making a return. I don't have much information on that, but I just think it's kind of interesting because if somebody wants to be nostalgic and they want to use a newer version, no, this is not going to be something that's going to be like you go to the computer store and get a new Commodore 64 that's actually, I was going to say Pentium, whatever the heck the latest Ryzen chip is or something. It's not going to be that, but it is apparently going to be a modern working system. However, with whatever like Commodore OS.
Well, the whole point behind it is one of these gaming systems that has like 500 nostalgic games on it.
Well, yeah, but I think it goes a little beyond that. Either way, it's good for people who want to get into something like this. There's a lot of people that are going to want that thing, just like that. That God, what was it? What was it? The old Sega Genesis, not the real, but the little teeny one that came out a few years ago that had like 40 Sega Genesis original games embedded in it. And people took that thing off the shelf so fast they could not keep it on the shelves at Walmart. It was ridiculous. Anyways, having said that,
yeah, it's got some kind of AMD Atrix. It says claim to be compatible with 10,000 plus original games, cartridges, and peripherals. So it's not really designed to be like a computer to use as far as like.
But if it's a Commodore 64, I imagine they probably allow you to do Commodore 64 stuff.
Oh, sure, I'm sure.
So, what did they used to advertise? Spreadsheets. You can do spreadsheets and graphs, and they made it look in the commercials like these graphs would magically appear. And what year was this? 1991 or something, or 89 or. When was the
so I don't know. The computer comes with a PSU, of course, power supply unit, HDMI cable, a spiral bound user guide, and a 64 gig USB cassette drive featuring 50 full games, including licensed classics, plus music demos, a quick start guide, and a collection of stickers. Yeah, so it's just like one of these nostalgic game things. Is really but that's cool. I mean, I guarantee you they're probably gonna sell out of this thing because people love that shit.
Oh no, absolutely they will. Yeah, totally. Just you mentioned the cassette. I mean, you did say USB because it's got a USB, but the whole point is, are they really doing that so you can go back to the old days of using a cassette as memory?
I, I don't know. I
For
guess
those
it's
that
just
don't
again
know,
they
the
want to, I guess,
original,
keep
and they
some
weren't the only
nostalgia.
ones. There were a couple of other companies at the time that had entry level family style computer things, which were usually a really thick keyboard that had the whole thing built in, and you would just plug it into a small TV. Um, for your memory, you would have an accessory, and you would put a regular cassette. Although they always sold you the one that was labeled data cassette, I guarantee you, a tape is a tape is a tape. It made no difference. You could literally erase your mixtape and use it as your data tape on a Commodore 64 system. Uh, Obviously,
Well,
that's pretty damn
I'm
slow.
sure we'll see them all over the internet. So
I can't wait to see the reviews, especially with the cassette, if it's memory. Rogers in Canada is has launched Starlink satellite texting. This is not just the um, emergency. Like if I lose signal right now, I can I can dial emergency 911, or sorry, text it, because I got the satellite on my phone. I'm pretty sure anyone in North America that is phone capable can do that now. There might be a few straggler carriers that for some reason haven't implemented it or haven't allowed it, but I'm pretty sure phones like Pixel, um, should be most Samsungs, and pretty much all Apple phones. It doesn't matter what carrier you're on. The phone has it. It's for 911, so they can't deny it. Um, However, Rogers is launching their texting. Apparently, it's going to be like $15 a month or something like that if you do the beta, which is free until October. If you don't, apparently it's going to be like 20 something dollars a month. I'd open it, but for some reason, when I opened that tab, I froze up.
yeah,
But somewhere in that neighborhood, anyway. So
I don't. I guess I don't understand the whole. I mean, if you have cellular coverage, like maybe I guess in Canada
I
when
mean,
you're out in the boonies or something, it's
no,
I don't
you
know.
have more boony places than we do.
I don't. So I don't understand what the whole point is.
Let me
Why?
give you an
I
example,
mean,
because you live in an area where you're not going to go anywhere where there's not going to be service, pretty much. Especially if you stick to the highways, even the crappy highways. But why don't you drive through the desert of New Mexico for a while and see how long you go before you lose signal? Drive through Montana and tell me how far you get before you lose signal.
oh,
Montana's huge. I'm not saying
yeah,
going to
sure.
Montana. I'd say drive through Montana, not the main highways either. Get off the back onto the back roads and drive for a while, and tell me how long you can go before you lose signal, and then come to Canada and do the same thing in Saskatchewan. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but you're
Just
not going to be carrying on text conversations when you're out in the middle of BFE somewhere. I mean, that's not because that's
why the hell not?
yeah. I don't see that happening.
Why not? I don't understand that. You're on a boat. You can't get a cell signal in the middle of the ocean, but you can
I
text
don't
them.
want to talk to anybody on a boat. I'm on a
I
boat
didn't
because I want
say a
to.
cruise ship, for God's sake. You just got rescued out of the water.
Oh, I'm rescued. Give me a minute. I gotta text my wife. Give me a
You're damn right.
break.
I'm okay, honey. I'll be home in 7
Yeah.
days.
Uh
I'm on a
huh.
steamer.
Okay. I don't think it's as relevant as people think it's going to be,
I think it's
or as
relevant for
used.
people who need it to be relevant, not for people who don't.
I'm sure there's some people
I'm
out
always in
there
the
that.
city. I'm always in places when I go out of the city where I went hiking a couple of times last year and the year before in places where I did lose signal. You can bet your ass when I got tired, because this is before I realized I was having a lung problem, by the way. And this was my first clue that there was an issue, except I thought it was just because I was out of shape. So I didn't really think much of it. If I'd gone to the doctor then, I probably could have avoided it. But anyways, I climbed down a rock, which was easier to climb down than get up. But I was so unbelievably blown up. Um, and I was in the middle of no one would have heard me. I would have fallen into this thing and I would have died. That would have been it. No one would have come by there. So just imagine. And people say, "Oh, you still wouldn't get the satellite signal because you're all these rocks around." Well, yes and no, but there's also a valley off to my west, or was it west, northwest. So there was still area where I would be able to pick up a satellite. I guarantee I would have been able to get a satellite signal. Lying at the bottom with a broken hip. So, yeah, I
Well,
100% agree.
see,
And actually,
Verizon has that, and they don't
Texas
charge
has already
anything.
saved more than one life. You know that, right?
They don't charge anything.
Who doesn't?
Verizon already has that, and it's free.
Of course they don't, because Rogers is. I almost went the wrong way there. Um, I wasn't saying that it was a good idea that they were charging it. They shouldn't be charging it. But here's the thing: this whatever deal they came up with, it's with Starlink.
I thought Starlink wasn't like operating in Canada right now.
No, they didn't get booted completely out, and they can't get booted out of the entire country. It was a deal that they had with Ontario specifically
Oh,
to offer internet services to rural. They can't. Ontario has nothing to do with whether anybody can get a signal here. They can still sell services to independent people. They just not going to get free money from the Ontario government
no, I
as a
thought it was
subsidy.
a Canadian wide thing.
No, 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 absolutely not. And even if it was, they still couldn't stop it. That would be impossible. Uh,
They could
so
shoot them down.
nonetheless, there also are some other little tidbits of information flying around that Canada's experimenting with the idea of putting up our own satellite system, which would be a bold maneuver. Canada's been in the aerospace game since the 50s and seriously involved in NASA undertakings since the 60s. The moon landings, the Gemini program, the space shuttle Canadarm. Anybody? Um, Many of the top minds came from here. But that said, we have never actually put anything in space ourselves. First time for everything, right?
I guess we'll see.
All right. So, with that, we should talk about our main subject. What y'all came here for? It's all about Google. Google's decided, much like they did before they started the Pixel program, to when they purchased HTC. No, they didn't. They purchased some. Well, at that time it was exclusive licensing. They bought a bunch of their not copyright. What's the word I'm looking for? Like copyright, but
I don't know what you're thinking about.
for hardware. Copyright
Trademarked?
is paper trade. Yeah, they're trademark stuff. Yeah. Anyways, they not trademark. That's not even the right word. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, I invented a mouse. So what do? I don't want anybody to steal it. My
You
design.
trademark it.
Now, a trademark would be that. That's a trademark. That, ooh, you can't even see it. That would be a copyright if that was my, specific. Anyways, having said that, bottom line is they purchased that stuff, and they actually, part of the deal was they took a whole bunch of HTC guys, and voila, we end up with Pixel. And if anybody thinks that the Pixel's not been successful, they have sold more every single time, with the exception of the Pixel 5. So the numbers go up and up and up and up every time. They're not Samsung levels and iPhone levels, obviously, but they are in the millions upon millions at this point. So that's good. Anywho, this time they decided to buy Windsurf. Not sorry, again, the non-exclusive licensing and a bunch of personnel as part of the deal, which basically means this is an AI startup, by the way. So there's a bunch of stuff they're going to be able to implement in AI, but the non-exclusive licensing part is what I like because it basically means that Windsurf can go on and still license to anyone they want to, which means competition is everywhere with it. Everyone gets to improve with it, and Google doesn't get sued over it or blocked from it. It's not necessarily great news for what do you call it? OpenAI, because they had a $300 billion deal that fell through expired actually, which is how Google jumped in and stole it. And then Cognition came in and purchased Winsurf. So they have now the licenses. But again, Google has the rights to those non-exclusive licenses. So it makes me wonder, were all three of them talking to each other in the first place?
They
And
might
the
have been.
idea was they could get, $250 million or whatever it is from Google, and then Cognition will come in and give them however many billions or whatever, and they'll get more money than they would have from OpenAI, which of course wanted exclusive rights, which would have given them everything outright. So Windsurf ends up getting a lot more. Their CEO goes to Google. Most of their a lot of their top minds go to Google, and almost everyone else gets to stay employed, but under the Cognition window, which is apparently bigger than Windsurf.
Yeah, apparently they lost their entire research team and all the founders to Google.
Yeah, but that means they still have a lot of intelligent people there, though.
Oh, I'm sure.
And that still means Cognition has all the rights to, again, non-exclusive for them too now, because Google has a non-exclusive, but they can sell those rights to anyone they want, or those not rights. God, what's wrong with me? do I have to ask Gemini this question? Seriously? You're reading it right now, so tell me what it is I'm saying wrong.
No, I'm just reading. Actually, I'm reading on Windsurf's website on the 14th.
Licensing, non-exclusive licensing. Sorry,
Yeah, he was just like making this big letter to his current staff and saying, hey, thanks for sticking with me and blah blah blah. I was just kind of see if there's anything specific in here. Yeah, I mean nothing that you haven't really already touched on. But yeah, I mean, it's just like, I mean, Apple, Google, all these gigantic $1 trillion companies, when they want something, they just buy it. They just go in there and do a hostile takeover.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how it works. That's how the iPhone was invented. A lot of people say, "Oh no, Steve Jobs drew it up on a piece of paper." No, he did not. He had an idea for what he wanted to do, and when it didn't work, he said, "Try this again." Somebody else gave him an idea. Then they bought a company, and that ended up being iPhone. Not the
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's obviously a genius mind behind it.
Company.
But he's obviously a genius mind that spawned the idea, but it takes more than one man to do something like that. It takes a team of people. I mean,
it absolutely does. I mean, don't get me wrong. Google, we already know how that started. A couple of guys, let's make a better search engine. It works.
Yeah.
Let's do some advertising. We're getting some money now. But it still didn't become what it became because they were in charge. They had the brains to walk off and keep the money while someone else ran it. And that's how it ended up becoming what it became. Because they weren't trying to. Sergey Brin never turned around and said, "Hey, guess what? I'm going to make a phone."
No, but him and Larry Page they're genius minds as well, but they're genius in the fact that they knew they could take it to a certain point, but then they needed to have,
Don't get me wrong. They were actually the geniuses that decided that buying Android was a good idea.
Right. Yes.
right? So it was their idea. So
Yeah, I think they had
they had,
visions of hardware. They just didn't know how it was going to play out, and they knew that was probably the first
yeah,
step is getting something that would run
that
on a
is
device.
that is interesting because I remember when those rumors were going around. They're going to make a phone. They're going to make a phone. And everybody on the message boards. There it is again. Because I'm old. Everybody on the message boards was saying, "No, that'd be stupid. I don't want to know stupid Google phone." And everyone else go, "I want a Google phone. I want a Google phone." So yeah, that's why when many years later, Android is already proven to be successful around the world, and Google does that advertisement and shows the thing change into what looks like the shape of a smartphone. And people went, "Oh my God, they're finally doing it. They actually
Yeah,
made a Google phone." Because Nexus wasn't technically a Google phone. It was Googly. And we used to use that
Google
term all
E.
the time. Remember Googly? Yeah. And some of you Americans got lucky enough to go to big barbecues. Sorry,
You could have. All you got to do is jump on a plane. You could have come down too. I mean,
nobody invited me. The big
nobody
Android.
invited me. I invited myself.
I I thought you had to be invited.
No, I
I thought
talked
it
to
was invite
somebody.
only.
No, I
Still,
talked to people. They're like, "Hey, you should come." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm coming," and I bought a ticket and I went. Nobody invited me.
I
I
didn't
said I'll
know
be there.
that. I would have went. Oh my God. You know what? I feel that it should come back, but I think it should be a Canadian thing. So all you mofos,
Well, why don't you spearhead that and
I
it
would
can
like
be
no idea how.
you ask Gemini or Chat GPT. I'm sure he can tell you.
You know what? If I can find enough people, maybe I can actually get some people interested. I have a big Android barbecue right here in the six. And by the way, if anybody's watching this and wonders why we call it the six, or Drake calls it the six, because the original area code is 41.
6.
There you go. The six.
That makes no sense.
It makes perfect sense. It's stupid, but it makes perfect sense. So,
It
having
is
said
stupid.
that, so we both agree, I assume, that that the whole thing with the Windsurf and Google and non-exclusive licensing, and then Cognition actually purchasing what's left of Windsurf, and having the license that they can sell. Hopefully, well, you know what? Hopefully, Cognition doesn't leave it to themselves and not license it, because they're obviously going to make a lot more money if they allow it to be, if they license it, right? Uh, Again, competition, and they make more money. Google, on the other hand, doesn't have to worry about any of that right now because they have the, non-exclusive, but they have the licensing, so they can use any and everything from it, which is pretty awesome. So I think we'll see some improvements, but not as fast as some people might hope. What they purchased now isn't something we're going to see in 3 months. This is maybe some next year, definitely some year after.
I don't
So
care what they do. They just need to get memory in Gemini and a better sounding voice because Chat GPT
yeah,
blows it away.
if you say that now, I have to get into a rant. So I'm going to do my rant pretty much right. Well, you know what? I'm not going to do it yet because I wasn't prepared. You can cut that part out or leave it in as a blooper. But this is what I'm going to rant about today. I was going to give you all the information about how I wanted to rant about Google Gemini, the mistakes it makes, the things it doesn't do, how Chat GPT is 1,000 times better. I've been messing around with Chat GPT, the free version, for quite some time now, and I've been relatively mostly impressed with most of the stuff. And then finally, I'm listening to everyone else doing all of their image generation stuff. And I'm like, God, you know what? I got to try some of that. So I did one. It was like, that's not bad, but I needed to do it. I need to turn this that way. Well, it didn't do it right. Okay, let's try it again. Let's start from scratch so I doesn't keep messing it up. Well, this time it doesn't display the picture. Can't try it again. I've run out of time for the day. I have to wait till tomorrow. I do it again. Same thing happens. Next day, same thing happens. At this point, I've now not seen anything beyond the first two screw ups. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to pay for it. So at least I have a whole bunch that I can try. Never displays a single thing. Next day, same thing. I now have to actually contact OpenAI and get my money back. It has been barely 24 hours. So when I want to say that Gemini needs to catch up to ChatGPT, I have to take that back because ChatGPT hasn't figured out yet how to display a freaking picture. I was going to say something else, but I don't have my bleeping thing ready. So my rant this week is ChatGPT, get your shit together. And that's pretty much my rant for today.
Well, that may be your rant, but ChatGPT still destroys Gemini with voice and memory.
I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to deny that at all. It's done some decent things for me, and for all the ranting I was going to do for Gemini, it made a couple of really cool pictures for me, and my intro for my disconnected thoughts is, well, that's VO3, which is not Gemini technically, but you know what I mean. It's part of the package. And I'm assuming that when Robert gets into his tech tip of the week, which should be right about now, we're going to see a new intro right about now.
Yes, after I hit the right button.
And now, Robert's tech tip of the week.
So, final thoughts and my tech tip. Final thoughts is, all AI has its place. They're all good at one thing, good at another, but they all screw up everything. Okay, so it's just the way it is. It's not a perfect solution. Maybe one day it will be, but right now it's just, hit and miss. I would say that it's getting closer to more hits than misses, which is fantastic. But that being said, on my tech tip, here's your money saving tech tip is to check your subscriptions. And here's what I mean. So, all this business with tariffs and all this bullshit with this company, that company, this country, it's created a situation where like literally every subscription I have, whether it be with my Office 365 that has gone up $30 a year, or whether it be with my Nest Aware, which is what all of my Google Nest cameras have their recording capabilities, event tracking and recording. All of that's through Nest Aware. Well, I got an email today that said that they're increasing from $150 a year to $200 a year because of, market conditions with, he gives some bullshit excuse. And whether it's actually causing the problem or not, all these tariffs have people just like running like scared because they don't know what's happening. Because they got this, dude in the office that literally is just like, just will fire off his pen with some new executive order that they don't know what's going to happen. But it has caused situations to be where, companies that they're doing business with are raising costs to them. So they have to raise costs to the consumer, i.e. me. Well, today I canceled my Nest Aware subscription. Yes, I'm going to lose my 60-day of recording. Yes, I'm going to lose some of the facial recognition. I still get to watch my cameras live. That doesn't change. I still get notified for certain events. That doesn't change. But a lot of the stuff that I did use, a lot of stuff that I did have access to, I didn't use. So, you know what? check your subscriptions, because more than likely you're getting increases across the board. My Netflix went up. I mean, everything has gone up. Everything. YouTube TV went up. Everything. Check your subscriptions. Cancel what you don't need. Evaluate it. Do you use all the features, or do you use part of it? Is it worth paying the cost? Or can you downgrade? Maybe you can downgrade to a lower subscription, which I could have done with Nest Aware, but you know what? I said, forget it. I'm not paying for any of it because I'm tired of getting, nickel and dimed or dollared at this point. There's no nickel and dimes. It's all getting dollared. So that's my tech tip. Check your subscriptions, cancel what you don't need, and save yourself some money, because more than likely you're not using half of it anyways.
Yeah.
So there you have it.
And you know what? That's a fantastic advice. And I had to cancel my Rogers Sportsnet because, ironically enough, it jumped up 33% or something like that. It's over $300 for the season now, and costs more if you pay monthly. So while I was paying, I think it was close to $34, it would be almost $45 a month for me now after tax to watch like 5 hockey games a month, because I can't watch all of them. Some of them are on too late. I got to work in the morning, and some of them I'm busy. I'm not home. Right. So I'm going to pay $45 a month. Come on. Really?
Yeah. See, that's the whole point.
Yeah. And so the few games I would get to watch would be the ones where they lose 19-0 or something.
And I don't know, like how it is in Canada, but I know that, everyone in the US, they're fearing, recession and or inflation. So I'm sure that has a lot to do with it, but I don't know. I just think it's ridiculous. And, stuff has gone up. So it's not like, sometimes we're going to have to increase $5 a month. It's like, okay. But when you go up, well, one of the cases was cost me like $20 more a month. I'm like, what? That's ridiculous. Man, that's insane.
That's
$50 a year is what?
My
what is
cost for that
$50
would be
a year?
almost I think 15 or 17 extra dollars after tax a month over what it was. I'm not doing it.
But keep in mind, the Nest Aware subscription started at $99 or $95, something like that, and now it's up to $200. So since I've had it to now, it's increased 100%. And I'm just not willing to pay $200 a year.
I'm not sure. If I were to buy Nest cameras right now, can I use them without a subscription at all?
Yes, 100%. And that's why I canceled. So you can still watch.
I would see them on my TV.
Yes.
My Google TVs.
And you can pull up your Google Home app on your phone when you're at work and watch your cameras all you want. So all that's still
recording. Recording is not happening.
No, you can't record.
Yes,
except, here's the except. If you have a battery powered, like their outdoor camera, like I have two. I have one in the garage and one in the backyard. That's battery powered. That'll store up to 3 hours of video because it's on a battery. So they assume like, oh, okay, if the internet goes out, you still want to be able to have some recording. So you get to 3 hours. Same thing with the Nest doorbell. They give you 3 hours.
Yeah. You see, now this is the thing. I'd like to see one of these smart systems, camera systems, security systems, actually allow you to actually use DVR in your house. I think
you'd have to run wires for that. That's not.
No, you don't. No.
How are you going to get the? How are you going to get the signal?
DVR? It could just be something on your computer. I mean, why would you have to run wires everywhere?
Well, that's not a DVR.
What are you talking about? There's virtual DVRs. Computers have used virtual DVRs for decades. I used one before it was popular. I had
you have to. How are you going to send the video signal from your camera to your virtual DVR? How are you going to get that signal there?
How does it get to your phone?
Through their web server.
So why can't it go through, even with your web server? Why can't it go through your computer? I mean, you can see it on the computer, right?
Well,
If you
I,
wanted
I
to.
suppose they could maybe say, "Oh, you can record this to your computer," but then you got to leave your cameras running and your computer running all the time because it's still going through their web server. That's how you get the video signal to your phone or your computer. It's not a direct connection.
So you're saying the cameras don't run all the time?
No, the cameras do.
Yeah.
But if you're viewing them on your computer and you want your computer to record your camera, you've got to leave that feed up. It's not just going to do it automatically. That's why they have the service where they do the recording on the web server and then you can review those recordings. There's no way to there's no way to get the video signal, at least that I know of, to your computer directly, a direct connection without having some form of wire.
I'm not saying they should just suddenly magically allow you to do it. I'm saying somebody should come along and give you a smart system, but that allows you to save everything locally without charging you massive monthly fees. Because it's you purchase the bloody cameras, you put them in your house, you should be able to save the videos. So somebody steals your freaking car while you're at work and you didn't take the car for whatever reason, or you have a second car, you come home and you're like, oh, I got no goddamn video of it because I'm not paying for the subscription because they're overcharging. But now you have nothing. Maybe you had your battery operated one, but they stole it 1 minute after the battery died.
I'm sure there might be a way to develop something like that, but that's why some cameras have SD cards, because you would have to record to the SD card, and or they have internal memory like these Nest cameras that will give you 3 hours of recording. So obviously I'm sure it's possible. The technology might be there for someone to make something, but the cost of doing that, no one's probably going to buy it. Like, I would not spend $500 for a box when I could just spend it on, a subscription and have somebody else manage it. Just wouldn't, to me, it would be cost effective.
Well, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
That's it. Live in a house where
I've had a house for a long time with no cameras, so I'll take what it is. It's not a huge deal. And like I say, I got 3 cameras that'll give me 3 hours worth of video. That's fine. I still pay for my MyQ subscription, so I have 1, 2, 3 MyQ cameras that record that I can. Some of them are in the similar areas to my Nest cameras. So
I totally forgot about this MyQ thing.
Yeah.
Briefly, if I wanted to just suddenly decide, okay, I'm going to buy a couple of cameras, is MyQ a good way to go?
I love the MyQ stuff. It's not, it doesn't integrate with any Google Home and or Alexa or any of that. It's segregated, but they do that intentionally. So for example, like MyQ stuff opens and closes my garage door and locks my interior door.
Oh no, that's great. You're great for that. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I was just talking about cameras specifically.
Yeah, no, it's their ecosystem is within itself. It doesn't integrate. You can use, well, let me take that back. You can use IFTT, the if then this that.
I've done that before, and that's a nightmare now.
Yeah, but you can use stuff like that to create a connection, but it does not have a native capability to connect into Google Home and or Alexa or HomeKit or any of that.
If then that. IFTTT.
It actually functions pretty well when if you set it up right, but
I do have a question then. If I wanted to get a doorbell, smart doorbell, which company would you recommend, knowing that I want to be able to look at the camera on my Google TV?
Nest.
Really?
Only because you're so integrated with the Google ecosystem already.
Yeah, but
maybe Ring, but Ring is Alexa. I think Amazon bought Ring. Did they not?
You may be correct, but I thought they still worked with Google.
No, I'm sure it does. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it does.
Yeah.
But I just, I don't know how integrated it is where you could watch it. Like, for example, I can take my Google streamer, which I know you have one, And there's a button you can hit on the remote, and it'll show all your cameras on the right hand side because it's all integrated.
I would love to be able to figure that one out, but I don't have any cameras to.
Right, but I'm saying that you can do that.
Lights.
Like I can show all my whole camera list on the right side of my Google Streamer by hitting a button on my remote.
Right.
You can't. I don't think you'd be able to do that with a non Google camera because it's integrated into their whole ecosystem. I could be wrong.
I do believe they do, but it's not with every single one. It has to be ones that fully work with Google. If they say they work with Google, then it will, because you have to be able to install it within Google Home and it'll show it. But it's probably a limited number of companies that will work with in the first place.
Yeah.
And you may be right. Ring may not be one of them. I'm not sure. But
Yeah,
there are a number of products that work with Alexa and Google, and
sure,
those kinds of products do show up in Google Home.
Well, I mean, I'm happy with my Q cameras. They look good. They function well. I've had zero issues. I'm happy with my Google cameras. It's just the subscription side of things that pisses me off. But the cameras themselves work fantastic. I've had zero issues out of any of my Google cameras, and they've been outside for years, cold, hot, whatever, no problems whatsoever. Yeah. And again, with the integration, considering you're not wanting to necessarily do all the recording, I would definitely go with, Google camera. So,
really, I don't understand.
Maybe
Why?
you could use a Google camera for your.
Maybe I could use.
Oh, it is an hour and 11 minutes. So maybe
maybe that's the thing. Maybe that's the hint. Maybe we could even edit out and
No, I'm leaving the big fat square, circle with a X marks the spot. That's what I see.
Okay, X marks the spot. All right, you know what? You can't see me, but I am Lionel from Toronto, and of course, I don't know why we didn't say this at the beginning, but I'm gonna say ciao now and leave the goodbyes and the outro to Robert.
Yeah. Well, I'm Robert from Nashville, and this is the pairing mode. We'll see you next week. Peace.